Have you ever wondered what the process is for making sausage? Or maybe you've made sausage at home and wondered if sausage factories do it the same way. Well, today we are at the one and only Mertz.Sausage factory. Mertz.Sausage has been producing their delicious, high-quality sausage for almost a century now, and today we are going to get a behind-the-scenes look at how their sausage is made. So join us as we get an exclusive look of this South Texas little gem producing some of the most reasonably priced and best-tasting smoked sausage here on Al Lunacy Queuing. Welcome back, my good people. Today we're at the west central side of San Antonio. This is an older part of town that stays busy, and this couldn't be more true for this small sausage factory producing big flavors.
Hey Alex, welcome to Mertz.Sausage. Come on inside and join me and I'll show you our production and I'll show you how we make sausage. We've been in business since 1929. 4 more years, we'll be here 100 years. Come on inside.
It was a Monday morning when we stopped by the sausage factory, and let me tell you, the factory was in full throttle. First day of the week, and the coolers were getting fully stocked. Mertz.Sausage factory makes a variety of sausage that we'll go more into detail later, but what really surprised me was that they were selling them for such reasonable prices. Most of their sausage sells for $3.29 a pound, so you can buy a pack of 6 sausage links for well under $4. It gets even cheaper if you buy a box of 10 pounds for $29.90. More on that later. Let's move on to the factory tour. It starts in the freezer room where boxes of beef and pork are moved to the scale, then weighed accordingly. They are then moved again over to the grinding table where a 40-60 mix is grinded for sausage, 40% being boneless pork picnic and 60% being beef trimmings. The process here, however, is only to grind the proteins as they will be mixed into one later. The pork and beef is grinded into trays, then fed into the mixer, one tray at a time, some being pork trays and others being beef tray grindings. Here I'll show a little bit of this process of loading the mixer before we move on to the next step. Once the mixer is fully loaded, the mixing process begins with the salts and the seasonings nearby. Note the direction of the mixer as it's turning towards the operator for inspection. Once the operator determines the beef and pork have mixed well together, it's time to close up the mixer again. This time it's turning away from the operator. This is because the pink curing salt and regular salt will be added, and you don't want it coming back at you as you're mixing. Next to be added is the appropriate seasoning, whether it be just Polish sausage, hot sausage, or garlic sausage. Isn't this just mesmerizing? Next, water is added to the mixture. Water allows for better blending of the seasonings throughout the meat mixture. It also helps with the stuffing process by making the meat mixture easier to handle. And finally, it helps to counteract moisture loss during cooking, resulting in a more succulent sausage. Once the seasonings and water are thoroughly mixed into the protein, it's time for the next step. The protein is loaded onto a large tray where then it's moved next to the sausage stuffer. It's then shoveled into the machine. Once the sausage stuffer is loaded, the protein is stuffed into casings where the machine automatically produces a 5-inch sausage link faster than anyone at home could ever produce. The sausage links are then carefully hung in racks where they are properly spaced for the next step in the process.
So what they're doing there is just spacing out the sausage to get an even smoke bath.
Actually, these are getting ready to go into the smokehouse.
And the smokehouse is in there?
With the sausage being put in the smokehouse, we thought it would be a good time to ask about the history of the business.
So Alex, tell us a little bit about how the company got started.
Basically, my understanding is before I was born, of course, but it was back in 1929 or a little bit earlier than that, and it started with Mr. Mertz in his garage making sausage, selling it to the family, friends, and neighbors, which was in this area here, right here on Cupples Road and Highway 90 West. From there on, his son-in-law, Mr. Hawsey, ended up marrying one of the daughters, and he ended up taking the business over. Exactly when, I don't know, but he brought it into what this building is now, and they worked it for many, many, many years. I ended up marrying his granddaughter, and he asked me if I'd come over and work with him, which I did, and then he ended up selling it to me.
So in 1972, Alex acquired the business, and under his leadership, its distribution grew statewide.
We basically sold it to a lot of grocery stores, and we're almost all over the state of Texas. We were in Austin, Houston, all of the Del Rio, Eagle Pass, and Laredo. And my foreman that was here, who retired just several years ago, one day came in and said, "I've had enough," and I told him I did too. So we started scaling back to where we just strictly went here, selling here in San Antonio.
With the sausage nearing its final smoking temperature of 160 degrees, it was time to head over to the smokehouse to see the final product. The sausage at Mertz factory is smoked with mesquite wood, and there was a beautiful aroma of smoked meat as we neared the smokehouse. As one rack of cooked smoked sausage is taken out of the smokehouse, another rack of sausage is loaded into the room. I have to say that out of all the steps in the process of sausage making, this was my favorite part, because not only does it smell awesome, but because we are going to get to sample taste test some of the sausage straight out of the smokehouse.
The smell is incredible.
For quality control, of course. Now, I've been told that if you ever get to try smoked sausage straight out of the smokehouse, it's another level of deliciousness. So let's find out if this is true. Alex cut us a link of sausage coins on the cutting board, and it looked absolutely juicy, moist, and gorgeously delicious. All right, enough talking. Let's try this. Looking at the cut of sausage, all the juiciness of the proteins and all the seasonings were visible. No lie, best Polish sausage I have ever tried.
And tell us a little bit about the different kind of sausages you have available.
We have an Italian sausage. We have what we call a German-style dinner sausage. It's a coarser ground sausage, almost like a bratwurst. It has no preservatives in it. We make a chorizo mexicano. It's extremely lean because we only use boneless thick necks. And then, of course, we have our original, which is a beef and pork. And then we have a jalapeno cheese. We have a hot, and we have, of course, our original.
So Alex, looking around, I did see that the sausage prices are very, very reasonable. How have you been able to keep such a great product at such a reasonable price?
If you look at our building, it's a little bit on the older end of it. Yes, it is, but everything here is paid for. So therefore, our overhead is very, very unique. I mean, we have very little overhead. Also, our employees are paid on a 40-hour week, whether they work it or they don't. So therefore, using that program that I brought many, many years ago into it, they work as hard as they can to get out here as soon as they can. So that way they only work maybe 30, 32, 34 hours instead of the whole dragging it out to go to 40. And it's been a very good program for us and for our employees as well.
So what did you think about the sausage making process? Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more barbecue and grilling content. I appreciate the hospitality Alex, the owner, and his workers gave us. If you're ever in the San Antonio area, look them up and try out their sausage, especially their garlic version. You won't be disappointed. That's all for now, my good people. As always, take care of yourself and each other. See you again very soon.